Hey, it's Phil from philjava.com, and today I'm going to show you how to animate annotations inside of Camtasia for Mac, and this is very cool, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm inside Camtasia, and what I did was drop in a snapshot of a spreadsheet just for the purpose of showing this little trick or whatever. And what I'm going to do is drop in an arrow and then animate it so it moves from cell to cell all by itself. All right, so basically annotations, and you can do this with anything that's in inside your timeline. Sometimes you see people do like screencasts, and you'll see them using their cursor, and they'll be going like this, and they'll circle something, and I mean, I've seen it where people are just like doing this, and while they're talking, and they're really not saying much of anything, but they're just like, kind of have that same problem myself. So this is a way more professional way of making this happen. All right, so here's what I've done. I put in an arrow, and what I'm going to do is, let's set this at the beginning of the timeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the arrow show on that cell for like 1 second, and then I'm going to have it move over, and the process of it moving over will last a second. It'll dwell there for a second, then move over again. All right, and now the way I do that is I come over here to animations, and the very first one is blank. And I'm just going to leave it whatever it is. Now a blank doesn't do anything of itself. You can scrub this and you can see nothing is happening. But if you click on the end of the arrow, it'll turn it yellow, and now this is your destination of this animation. So this destination I'm going to make go to the next cell. And then when you scrub it, you can see that it's actually moving that arrow. And now I'm going to animate it one more time just to show some cool stuff. I'm going to have it dwell there for about a second, and then what I'll do is at the end of this animation, what I think I'll do is I will move it way over here and have it like do something really kind of wild. So when it scrubs from there to there, it's actually showing a whole bunch of stuff. So let's see what this looks like real quick. This is just two animations, and the arrow moves from that cell, and then it moves way over to this cell. In annotations, you can take, I'm going to set this up in the same place on the timeline as my arrows, all right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of things to make this so that I can just, instead of using it as a call out, I'm going to use it to highlight like a cell. So highlighted the text, and I'm going to delete that, and then I'm going to go into the call out itself. And I don't care what this says over here, because I'm just going to take the opacity and make it 0. Okay, so the inside of the box is now completely clear. And then the border of the call out, let's make it orange just for fun. On this first one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that it highlights the cell that I'm working with. There we go. All right, that's good enough. All right, so, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate it. You see how that moved over? Now I need to animate that part, and I'm going to drop a blank in, and you can do this pretty much any way you want to. Now my ending point is going to be on this one, but it's not quite fitting it, so I'm going to move it. I'm going to stretch down, make it hit exactly the way I want it to hit. And so when I scrub this now, they'll move together kind of. Now let's say we're going to highlight a whole bunch of things at the end here. So I'm going to put in another animation in the timeline right there, and this one is going to be, let's just say it's going to highlight all of these. And there's a couple of things I could do. I could leave it just like that so that it kind of highlights all of this, or you can come back over here and put in a solid and give it a little bit of a highlight like that. So that's kind of cool. So now we went from nothing to all that cool stuff. All right, so let's see what that looks like real quick. Very cool. All right, so that's how you animate an annotation inside of Camtasia. Thanks for watching.